Core summary. Recent U.S. media exposés revealed private group chats among Republican youth leaders containing extensive extremist remarks such as "I love Hitler" and "rape," epic level, encompassing racism, anti-Semitism, and misogyny. These reserve cadres actively engaged in power competitions demonstrate zero regard for breaching political red lines, indicating the decay of American political culture has spread from public stages to back rooms, and from the present to the future. The frequent use of discriminatory vocabulary in group chats is no coincidence. It directly results from Trump's normalization of hostile inflammatory rhetoric. From the White House's Yo Mama literature to youth leaders' pro-Nazi statements, this forms a complete top-down emulation chain, revealing Trump has not only altered policy agendas but reshaped a generation of young politicians' communication methods and moral boundaries. Post-exposure. Republican reactions diverged, local organizations distanced themselves, the White House downplayed the issue, and Vance deflected focus, all reflecting precise electoral calculus. For traditional voters, especially swing voters, the incident carries significant negative impact, while among far-right voters, radical rhetoric may be a positive factor. With Republicans holding an incumbent advantage, Democrats clearly operate with narrower margins for error. Alarmingly, Generation Z raised in the Trump era has normalized radical rhetoric and political violence. As boundary shattering becomes the political norm for the younger generation, whether American democratic institutions can withstand increasingly radicalized youth has become a core question concerning the nation's political future. On October 14, Politico exclusively exposed group chat records of U.S. young Republican local leaders on Telegram. Spanning 2,900 pages and over 28,000 messages from early January to mid-August, the logs were saturated with far-right remarks including racism, anti-Semitism, misogyny, and even pro-Nazi sentiments, triggering widespread outcry in American society. As future leaders cultivated within the Republican system, these youth's brazen vulgarity has further lowered the perceived toxicity ceiling of U.S. politics. Coincidentally, the concurrent circulation of Yo Mama exchanges among White House and Pentagon press secretaries served as a quintessential case of top-down emulation, demonstrating how Trump's influence on America's political atmosphere has profoundly shaped the internet generation. In the short term, the involved young Republicans will likely face career ruin as they predicted, while handing Democrats strategic ammunition ahead of midterm elections and introducing additional variables. However, their long-term impact lies less in whether they assume power than in the potential normalization of boundary-eroding online rhetoric. Once such language transitions from private chats to public discourse, American political dialogue will be subtly reshaped, raising existential questions about the trajectory of an already poisoned political arena. Explosive group chat of Republican rising stars. Awesome. I love Hitler. Everyone who votes no should go to the gas chamber. I'm ready to watch people burn to death. If I want to see monkeys play ball, I'll go to the zoo. They like watermelon people. This girl is totally mentally retarded. You value the national organization too much, expecting that Jew to be honest. Minnesota, dead faggots. Arkansas, inbred cattle rapists. Nebraska, rise up for us. We've already blocked their vote binding. We hold the majority among representatives. Maryland, fat, stinking Jews. Rhode Island, traitorous bitches, I'll wipe them off the earth. In the Restore Your War Room chat group, slurs like faggot, retard, and nigger appeared 251 times, targeting women, Jews, ethnic minorities, Black, Asian, etc., and LGBTQ+ communities with comprehensive bigotry. These vitriolic outbursts originated not from societal margins but from the Republican Party's anointed rising stars. The exposed dozen plus, some reports indicate dozens, members were predominantly state-level young Republican leaders from New York, Kansas, Arizona, Vermont, and other states. The Young Republican National Federation, YRNF, formally established in 1931, serves as the GOP's youth wing for members aged 18 to 40, with nationwide chapters blending social and political functions. The organization and its affiliates sponsor both offline gatherings and online networking events while supporting Republican candidates and causes. Notably, Young Republicans and College Republicans are distinct entities, formally split in 1972, with the latter focusing on recruiting college students and having severed formal ties to the Republican Party. Thus, Young Republicans represent a more socially seasoned and politically experienced cohort. These local leaders, state chairs, vice chairs, general counsels, effectively constitute the GOP's reserve cadres, including figures already embedded in the system. 27-year-old Samuel Douglas, a Vermont state senator, Peter Jonta, chief of staff to New York Assemblyman Mike Riley, and Michael Bartels, former senior advisor at the Trump-era U.S. Small Business Administration. Aged primarily 24 to 35, they far exceed what Vance dismissed as little boys. Amid the profanity, they engaged in serious power struggles, vying for control of YRNF and leadership positions, with Jonta even seeking Trump's endorsement for his chair bid. Ironically, while openly discussing acquiescence to Trump's pressure to avoid being labeled Renos, they referenced Trump's concealment of Epstein-related documents. Kansas Young Republican Chair Alex Dwyer mocked, "Trump is busy burning Epstein's files." Operating under the illusion of privacy, they neither concealed their genuine sentiments nor ignored potential consequences. If this chat leaks, we're finished. The leak, likely triggered by internal power conflicts, exposed both their extremist rhetoric and the precarious finances of local Young Republican chapters, unleashing a firestorm of condemnation that led to dissolutions, suspensions, and dismissals. Top-down emulation, taboo breaking is norm. While social media chats aren't formal discourse and naturally involve unfiltered expressions, the frequency and density of these exchanges defy classification as mere slip-ups. University of Dayton professor Art Gibson, who specializes in white supremacy studies, stated bluntly, "Say it once or twice, it's a joke. Say it 251 times, it's no longer a joke." As Gibson analyzed, Trump's persistent use of hostile, inflammatory language has normalized provocative dialogue within conservative circles. This impact proves particularly pronounced on youth still forming political awareness. His analysis of the chat content concluded participants were deeply influenced by Trump's exaggerated, emotion-driven communication style. Coincidentally, 2 days after the chat scandal broke, the Trump administration adopted Yo Mama retorts against media. On October 16, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt texted a HuffPost reporter, "Your mom decided" regarding the Putin-Trump meeting location in Budapest, followed by White House Communications Director John Zenksi's "Your mom" reply. 4 days later, Pentagon Chief Spokesperson Sean Parnell told HuffPost, "Your mom bought it for him. It's a patriotic American tie, dumbass," responding to queries about Secretary Hagerty wearing a Russian flag-colored tie at the White House Trump-Zelensky meeting. Confronting nationwide No Kings anti-Trump protests, Trump embraced AI-generated viral content, including shared footage of piloting a fighter jet to dump feces on protesters and Vance's Trump-crowned Pelosi kneeling video. The White House released official AI imagery titled "We Are Born Different," depicting Trump and Vance wearing crowns while Democratic leaders Jeffries and Schumer sported Mexican sombreros. This top-down emulation created mutual reinforcement. Public Republicans preemptively divided allies and foes, normalizing attack as defense and toxic rhetoric, thereby absolving younger successors from respecting traditional norms or linguistic taboos. As digital natives steeped in meme culture, they operate within radically transformed information ecosystems, often equating extremism with coolness. Emerson College Communication Chair Gregory Payne, drawing on decades of political communication research, highlighted leadership's role. "Trump masters political theater, craves the spotlight, and intuitively understands media evolution. His loyal base and electoral success attest to his strategy's effectiveness, imprinting the GOP with his brand." Visibly, Trump deploys aggressive rhetoric to advance agendas, frames zero-sum negotiation as his political signature, and harnesses short-form videos' viral potential. His followers consequently lump opponents into monolithic radical left categories. Amplified by social media algorithms, the boundaries of personal speech's political impact expand relentlessly, exacerbating societal fractures, a phenomenon applicable to both Trump and the young Republicans he influences. Election cycle's double-edged sword. Post-exposure reactions varied across the Republican spectrum. Local GOP chapters and YRNF issued condemnations and distancing statements, while the White House minimized the issue. Trump remained silent, and Vance shared a screenshot of Democrat Jay Jones wishing Republicans get 2 bullets in the head, calling it far worse than any college group chat. This intra-party divergence stems from divergent assessments. Payne suggests it reflects calculations about voter bases, how politicians anticipate their supporters will react to the chats, and how turnout and electoral dynamics might shift. Neat columnist David French emphasized that beyond Trump's success model effect, electoral logic remains pivotal. Amid escalating malicious rhetoric and anti-liberal sentiment, Americans across parties often tolerate minor evils to avoid the major evil of electoral defeat. The 2026 midterms represent both parties' primary focus. Republican reactions underscore the scandal's double-edged sword effect on elections. Democrats face a straightforward playbook: leverage the exposed chats to undermine GOP candidates in swing districts. As incumbents, holding majorities in both chambers, Republicans at all levels must navigate delicate damage control versus base consolidation balances. The chat scandal undoubtedly tarnishes the GOP brand, though its ultimate electoral impact depends on multiple variables. Voter tolerance thresholds are crucial. Traditional voters, especially swing voters, typically reject such vitriolic extremism, potentially flipping seats to Democrats. In suburban and diverse districts, extremism-related scandals carry heightened risks for GOP candidates. Conversely, radical rhetoric mobilizes echo chambers, potentially boosting turnout in some areas, particularly among right-wing youth, with hardline culture war candidates benefiting most. Yet this may replay 2022 midterm outcomes, MAGA candidates securing nominations but losing general elections. Republicans retain one key advantage. Per Cook Political Report, the GOP holds 191 safe House seats versus Democrats 172. With Senate flips extremely difficult, 53 or 47D, Democrats face limited House pickup opportunities and narrower error margins. Reshaping discourse beyond succession. Short term, the involved young Republicans will likely face derailed careers, as party establishments, POCs, and donors reject such overt extremism. Yet transformational change rarely occurs overnight. The seepage of fringe ideas into mainstream discourse remains a gradual, insidious process. Critically, since 2020, American adults have shifted rightward overall, predominantly driven by youth. Pew Research Center's June party affiliation fact sheet shows Republican-leaning Americans grew from 43% to 46% over 5 years, with the 18 to 29 cohort surging from 31% to 43%, peaking at 47% during 2024 elections. Cross-analyzing age and gender reveals 52% of 18-29-year-old males lean Republican, up 16 points from 2023 and 18 points higher than Democratic peers. Even among same-age females, Republican support rose from 30% to 37%. The young male demographic implicated in the chat scandal precisely constitutes the key variable expanding the GOP's voter base and propelling Trump's 2024 victory. As their electoral influence grows, they inevitably attract establishment attention. Alarmingly, as French warns, Gen Z's radicalization embodies the current political era's legacy. Their adulthood coincides entirely with the Trump presidency, devoid of memory or clarity about pre-Trump America. Raised amid Capitol riots, toxic social media, and political violence, their heightened tolerance for extremism seems almost logical. From Trump's 2015 campaign launch to his 2029 departure, he reshaped U.S. politics for 14 years, a period during which entire generations came of age in this new environment, with Trump as their most salient political role model. The New York Times lamented, "If your political opponents represent ultimate evil, then the only morality left is the morality of victory, the only true sin is the sin of failure." This ethos underpins the chat scandal, Charlie Kirk's assassination attempt, and the January 6th insurrection, transcending mere performances of masculinity. Samuel Douglas, elected state senator last January, never moderated his conduct upon entering the system nor adopted elusive respectable political norms. Only under pressure 8 days post-scandal did he resign, claiming as a young person, "I have a responsibility to set a good example." Once taboo breaking becomes normalized and extremist ideas permeate mainstream discourse, how many future Douglases will ascend to power? The erosion of ideological standards operates invisibly but erupts violently. Zooming out, while Gen Z movements challenge traditional political structures across emerging economies, can America's vaunted consolidated democracy withstand its own radicalized youth, collapse of rational dialogue, and perpetual campaign machinery? The question invites sober reflection.